Have you ever done something where you challenge yourself to learn a new skill? Maybe it was for a job. Maybe it was just something that you've just always wanted to do. You stepped outside of your comfort zone and you've done something or taken on something, and now when you look back on it, you can say to yourself, I'm proud of myself that I took that opportunity, that I challenged myself to do it. Well, I've been going through something similar to this. So let me tell you a little story about what has been happening behind the camera with me over the course of the last approximately 8 months. So, about 8 months ago, me and my friend Tim, we decided that there were a series of different things that we wanted to do to challenge ourselves. Call it our bucket list, whatever you want. But there are things that we always wanted to do that we've never done. Maybe we were scared to do them. Maybe that we had barriers in front of us, financially, physically. Something, was in the way. That we talked ourselves into saying, "Look, we can't do it." At this point in our lives, maybe later on down the road, and we'll do it then. Now, if you really want to, get down to it, about 15 years ago was the first time that we did something like this. And that was, the two of us. We, started off in our younger years, in our 20s and our 30s. We used to golf. And then we both had families. And we put golfing off. I mean, it's a recreational, activity. It's something we both really enjoy doing, but we put it off for 20 years or more while we raised our families. And then one weekend we decided to, let's do it. Let's just go buy a couple of used sets of golf clubs, whatever we could get at yard sales or whatever, and let's just go do it. And we were absolutely horrific at it. And it took us, quite a long time, but, it's something that we really enjoy. It's, reasonably priced, if you find the right course, community golf course or whatever. But we challenged ourselves and we went outside the box and we did it. Now, all of us only get a finite amount of time to actually cross things off, I guess, our bucket list. So 8 months ago, me and Tim wrote out a list of different things that we've always wanted to do. And on that list, there was everything from skydiving, taking an adult education class in a subject matter that we've both, or individually found interesting. And along with that was doing stand up comedy. And it was something that we said, look, we're going to do this. We got, there are certain things. We said, okay, I'm going to do it. You're going to do it. And these are things that we were supposed to do as buddies. Well, that didn't work out too well. Tim ended up having to be transferred. And not only he was already living, in opposite side of the state from me, about 400 miles away from me. So I only got to see him every couple of weeks, so we could work on crossing things off. And stand up comedy was the thing that we were working on. We were both supposed to go originally to an open mic night, and we planned out that we were working towards that actual goal of getting the timing down. These are things that neither one of us have any experience in, but it's something we always wanted to do. Let's do it. Challenge ourselves to something that didn't cost us a dime. And you can do things like this too. There are things that, like stand up comedy, that you can do that's not going to cost you anything except for your time. And if you value your time, like, we do, obviously, we still have children and grandchildren, well, in Tim's case, not me. But we decided that we were going to do it anyways. If nothing else, even if we failed miserably at it, it was something we were doing for ourselves. Well, it didn't work out like I said, and the way it's supposed to. We had a night picked out. We had an open mic night, but because of things that happened, Tim wasn't able to make it. So I did it. I did it by myself, and I'm telling you, it was one of the most nervous things I've done in quite an awful long time in my life. But I did it. I got a couple of laughs. You know, I was. I'm sure the audience definitely picked up on the fact that I was, well, not really, there or where I should have been. I mean, I actually wrote everything down on an index card so I could keep track of what I was doing, and trying to work out the timing, and the delivery and and when people start to laugh about it, you have to wait a certain period of time, allow them to laugh before you continue on with the story. I don't want to get into all the nuances of stand-up comedy, but I started doing it. And then I inquired with a couple smaller comedy houses, places where people go to do stand-up comedy, not open mic night, and asked them if I could do MC, which is basically introducing the comics, but trying to keep the crowd moving in a direction, and let them enjoy the night. Maybe throw a joke in here or there. It gave me a way to kind of work on my timing and my speed and my comedy at the same time. Do I have any ambition to become the next headliner, comic, and have my name, in neon lights above, a comedy room? Not really. It's something I enjoy doing. I'm probably not the best at it, but I've done it anyways because I needed to challenge myself to something that I'm not good at. I'm not the most proficient at, and I don't really have any direction in what I'm doing. So fast forward to the other night. The other night, I got the opportunity to an extraordinarily rare Thursday night. I got the opportunity to do a date night with my wife, just the two of us, go out, have dinner, and then go to actually watch a comedy show. The main headliner has been on Dry Bar Comedy. If you've ever seen Dry Bar Comedy, you can look it up on YouTube. It's basically clean comedy routine. They don't normally serve alcohol in the audiences, so you don't get the riled up, boozed up crowd, of hecklers. But the main comic's been on that. And in the audience, there were other comics who were there just to watch the show. With some of them were with their spouses, and others weren't. And along with that, it was another gentleman who I know, and he knows who he is, and I appreciate you being there. Who's just starting on this road himself, doing what I've been doing, open mic night, whatever I can that he can to kind of get your foot in the door. It's a vicious business out there, and you to start off doing something that you're not good at, that you have no actual skills at. I mean, we all know somebody in our lives who's funny. Maybe they're the funniest person, in that setting of, at a party or a family gathering. But there's a whole different routine to it when you're trying to present it to somebody in a way. And you're vulnerable standing up there with nobody else around. So that funny person that you see in front of you today, or next to you at the next family gathering, or at the office around the water cooler, they're funny there. But if you take them out of that element of security and you put them up on a stage with bright lights in their face and a microphone, can they be as funny there as they are in the situations where you find them funny? But the whole point of this is I've been challenging myself to get outside of my box, to do something that I had no skills at, that I wanted to do, I thought was interesting. And some people have motivated me to carry on, to do it. And, as time has come, I haven't been a headliner, yet. I mean, I've been either in the second spot or I've been in the third spot, or at a night where there's like five comics, I've been in number two and number three spot. I mean, but it's something that I enjoy. God knows you don't do this to be a road comic or do comedy if you're trying to get rich. There's very little money, maybe $100 or so, depending upon the spot you're in. But you need to do, and what I need you to think about is not me and not what I'm doing. It's you. Everybody has barriers that we throw up in front of ourselves in our lives. We say we can never get this done. I see it all the time online. Well, I really wanted to go to school to get my advanced degree. I wanted to become a doctor. I wanted to become a lawyer, a firefighter, or whatever it might have been. Maybe there's a dream job out there. I wanted to volunteer more, but I can't do it now because of my age, because of my disability, my mental health, whatever it might be. And you're going to find this probably, and take this the wrong way. But if you removed those walls, if you stopped having the excuses that you've put up in front of you your entire life, or maybe in the last 20 years or 30 years of your life, if you remove those walls, what could you accomplish? How happy would you really be if you just challenged yourself? And as far as advanced degrees, college degrees, becoming a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever it may have been, last year in America, in 2021, the last 2 years have been pretty hard hit because of COVID. But in 2021, there were 115 octogenarians, those at the advanced end of parts of their lives, if you look at it, who went on and completed a college degree. So it doesn't matter if you're 70 years old today, 80 years old today, or if you're watching this and you're 18 years old today. Don't ever give up on your dreams. Keep moving forward. And the more walls you put up in front of you saying you can't do it because you don't have the money, you don't have the time, every wall that you put up in front of you is just another step that you're going to have to take down if you're ever going to accomplish that goal. We all have this one finite amount of life, and time on this earth. Wouldn't you rather spend that time happy, doing things, and maybe you're crossing things off your bucket list? Maybe it's skydiving. Maybe your goal is not as lofty as getting an advanced degree or doing stand-up comedy. Maybe your goal is just to be able to walk to the end of your driveway to get the mail. Maybe your goal is something as simple as just being able to get out of the bed in the morning without the pain. I mean, we all live, this one life again, and have a finite amount of time. But what can you do today to be able to actually accomplish that goal? If your goal is to walk to the end of the driveway and back just to get your mail, what are you doing today to be able to make it out the door to the end of the driveway? Maybe you have been in a horrific accident, and mentally and physically you haven't left your room in 10 years. And you know who I'm talking to. I love you, sweetheart. But just open the door. Crack the door today. Tomorrow, if you can, open the door a little more. and then a little more, and a little more, until the door is open. If nothing else, you've accomplished so much. You're able to see out that doorway. And before you know it, you're taking that first step out the door. And you're moving forward on the rest of your life. The journey from here on out, and you look back on it, that's where you were. But now you're here. Where will you be going forward now that you've been able to open that door? You've removed that barrier. I hope that you find something from this, inspirational, and you find it useful, and you'll give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, I hope that you do subscribe to this channel, to the Taco Podcast, about my Thursday night date night. So I'm sitting in the audience there, and I saw other comics who were there. And like I said, I saw the one guy I recognized who was just starting off on this journey. That man, and he knows who he is, and I told him I'd make this video, came up to me, and with almost tears in his eyes, he said to me, leaning over, "I want to thank you so much for everything that you've done to this point, and how much encouragement you've given me." He goes, "You don't even know me." He goes, "But every single step of the way so far in this journey of me getting outside of my box, and moving forward in my life, you've been there to encourage me." And I'm like, "Hey, buddy, I'm here to help, any way I can." He goes, "You don't even know my story. The horrific abuse, physical, mental abuse that I suffered through early on in my life." He goes, "I was scared to, even in high school, to stand up in front of the school, my classroom, and give a report. I couldn't do it. The anxiety that overtook every aspect of my life. And I lived inside of a turtle shell, just closed up from the world. And you have encouraged me enough to not only do that, but stand up in a room with 50, 60, 100 people in it that I've never seen before, and say something that I find comical from my life experience. You helped me. And I want to thank you for that." I said, "I appreciate it." He walked back over, sat down with his wife or significant other. In this day and age, I guess we're not allowed to use pronouns like that. But it really meant something to me. I'm on a journey by myself here to challenge myself. Hopefully, someday down the road, my friend Tim will challenge himself to, cross off something else on the bucket list that we started, if you call it that. But in the meantime, I've been an inspiration to somebody else, and I've helped change one life already. And it's in a positive manner. How many more lives can I help change by talking to a camera or talking to an audience? How many lives can you change just by challenging yourself to step outside onto the porch today? Tomorrow, you walk to the end of the actual steps off your porch. Then the next day, you walk and you make it to the actual driveway. You have to take the baby steps before you can ever get to the end of the journey. And you never know, somebody else may be watching this or hear your story. And what are they going to do? Is it going to encourage them? Will they step outside the box? Will they challenge themselves to do something more? You never know. You never know just how your life is going to touch someone else and how it's going to encourage them to do something that they've wanted to do or they haven't been able to do in an awfully long time. Be the reason for change today. Change yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. Whatever the barriers are, the walls you've put up between you and your happiness, only you can be the change that you need. Have a great weekend, everybody. And stay safe out there. From me and my wife to you and your loved ones. Happiness, love, and success.